Hello and welcome. So the purpose of this video is to discuss the grading criteria for your English 203 term paper outline. So as most of you do know, your term paper outlines are due this week. If your class meets on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, it is due by midnight on Thursday, March 26th on Blackboard. If your class meets Monday, Wednesday, then it is due by midnight on March 25th on Wednesday. So this is the rubric we will use for grading your outline, and I've sent a copy of it to your email. As you can see, your outline is worth a total of 5 points. And you'll also see that the grading criteria is divided into 3 bands, or 3 sets of elements. So the first element or the first band involves your introductory paragraph. So as I discussed in the term paper outline video number 2, you must have an introduction for your outline or for your paper. So for your introductory paragraph, you need to have a hook, background information, and your thesis statement. So this is the structure that we taught you in Post Foundation 1 for your introductory paragraph. It's not the structure that we taught you for your response paper. So you want to start your introduction with some type of hook. You can use a strong or interesting statement about your topic as a hook. You could use a fact or statistic as a hook. But if it's a statistic, then you would need to have a citation with where you got your information from. You could use an anecdotal hook. You could use a definition hook. So there's lots of different types of hooks that you can use. Remember, the purpose of a hook is to grab the reader's attention, but we do discourage question hooks in Post Foundation 2 just because they're viewed as informal. Next, you want to have background information about your topic, and as I discussed in the term paper outline video number 2, you can use a source here for background information, which was different from your Post Foundation 1 introductions. And then your thesis statement. So these are the requirements for your thesis statement. You need to have a clear topic. So whatever your topic is, the words need to be inside your thesis statement. And that's worth a quarter of a point. You need to have a clear focus. So for example, if you're writing about the benefits of something, then the word benefit or beneficial needs to be inside your thesis statement somewhere. If you have an argument focus, then it needs to be obvious that you're arguing one side of an issue. So that needs to be clear. And then your supporting points need to be parallel. So for most of you, you're going to have 3 main points which are listed in your thesis statement, and they need to be parallel, which means that they are the same language structure. So topic is worth a quarter of a point, your focus is worth a quarter of a point, and then your parallelism of supporting points is a quarter of a point. So total for your introduction elements is 1.25 points or marks. Next grading criteria band is your main points. So this is basically the body of your outline. So as I discussed in term paper outline video number 2, you're required to have 3 main ideas. So this part here where it says 3 main ideas, these are the same ideas that are from your thesis statement, and they correspond to the upper Roman numerals in the outline. So by putting them in the outline, they're worth a quarter of a point each. Now, in terms of your subpoints, you as the writer can decide how many subpoints you want to have for your term paper. But the minimum requirement is 3, because for each of your main ideas, you should have 1 subpoint. So the subpoints correspond to lowercase letters in your outline. So a lowercase letter A, B, C, D. If you look at the sample outline, represents a subpoint. So you have to have a minimum of 3, because for each main idea, there should be at least 1 subpoint, and each of those is worth a quarter of a point. And then your evidence with the correct APA citation is also worth a quarter of a point each. So each subpoint you should have a minimum of 1 piece of evidence with the correct APA citation. So again, minimum of 3, but for some of you, you will have more than that. So the main points here, this is worth a total of 2.25 marks or points. The next set of grading criteria is your end of text references or your reference list and your use of APA style. So term paper outline video number 1, I discussed this in detail, how to actually write your reference list in terms of formatting and APA style. So if you would like more information about that, please watch that video. Basically, you get a 1/4 of a point for having your database entry, which is your academic journal. You get a 1/4 of a point for having your book or ebook entry. All entries need to be arranged alphabetically, so that's worth a 1/4 of a point. Your hanging indent is worth less than a 1/4 of a point. Your use of capital letters in italics is worth a 1/4 of a point. And all entries are complete. What this means is that you have your minimum 4 sources and that you have all the information that is needed for them, depending on the type of source that it is. So that's worth a little bit more than a 1/4 of a point. So total here is 1.5 points for your end of text references. Please note that depending on how you write a reference, that's how we know what type of reference it is. So for example, if you there's a certain way that you type out your book reference, so that way we know that it's an actual book. So if you don't do that correctly and it's not obvious that it's a book, then you wouldn't get your 1/4 of a point. So please take note of that. You have to actually put them in your reference list correctly if you would like the 1/4 of a point. So again, total 5 points for your outline. This is important to note what it says here at the bottom of the page. So basically it says that if you submit an outline with one of the topics, one of the focus types that is not approved, the outline will not be graded and you will get a 0. And then on the second page, on the left-hand side, it tells you the types of focus. This should say focus here, not topic. The focus types that are allowed on the left-hand side, and then the right-hand side is the focus types that are not allowed. So if you submit an outline with any of these focus types, it will not be graded and it will be a 0. So if you have any concerns about that, about your focus type, then please get in touch with me before the outline is due so we can sort it out. Okay. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me, and have a great day.